Asymmetric horror games are some of the most unique and interesting games on the market. From Friday the 13th to Dead by Daylight and beyond, there have been many attempts at this genre. For a while now, I've noticed a trend with these games, often releasing, and then after a short while, the game isn't supported anymore. Unfair advantages left and right, cosmetic focused rather than gameplay focused, and so on. Because of this, we need to ask the important question: what happened with asymmetric horror games? This is a rather loaded question, and so I'll be looking at 3 other questions to help answer it. When were these games the most fun? Why did some horror asyms thrive while others didn't? And then, what do the devs focus on? And before I start answering these, I should first give some background on these games and my personal experiences with them. Friday the 13th was a game that started me in this genre. It was fun, chaotic, and felt fresh for a while. Unfortunately, with IP's muddy waters with rights holders, it eventually died off, though people have very fond memories of this game, myself included. Dead by Daylight was the next horror asym game I played. It was really scary at first, and it really made you feel like the killer or a monster was chasing you. Then after like 50 to 100 hours, things aren't as scary, the players optimize their action. Playing either killer or survivor was fun, but felt like a job after a while. Whether you were alone as a killer or with 3 other teammates as a survivor, you had to sweat in DBD to win. Then came all the pay-to-win perks from the new survivors and killers. Don't even get me started on that. Between both sides, I played killer the most, but would play with friends or solo queue as survivor. Personally, 2020 through 2022 were probably the best moments in the game's history. While there were busted things on both sides, it was fun. No MMR, perks that were actually useful on both sides, old decisive strike and old pain resonance, that scourge hook perk. Matches genuinely would surprise you, rather than it basing off your skill level. Back then you could sweat for the win, but now you have to sweat for the win. That's why I stopped playing this game, because to me it started to feel like playing Destiny 1 and 2 again. Chore or job rather than a fun game. Back in the day, I would host lobbies with my friends on this game. We'd switch between playing killer and just messing around with each other each match. I'll never forget those early matches and games. We were all just so terrible, but it made it that much more fun. I think out of all the horror asyms, Evil Dead the game is probably the most ambitious. Similar to DBD, this is a 1v4 style game, with there being 4 survivors against a demon. Compared to DBD's laid back and neutered gameplay, Evil Dead lets the survivors blast the demon spawn, while at the same time the demon is trying to scare the survivors with traps, limit their progression to the Dark Ones, aka Protectors and the Necronomicon. Ultimately, this was the game that I had the most fun with. Sadly, its life was cut short, similar to Friday the 13th. Everyone has that 1 or 2 stories that they remember from each game they play, but there was a positive interaction with another person or a funny gameplay moment. Well, this was a bit of both. Ultimately, ran into this 2-man squad and befriended them. From then on, for months and months, we would hop on and grind the game, sometimes getting one of his other friends to fill our 4th survivor slot. There are just some time periods that you don't realize how perfect they were until it's gone. This game and those people, it was just such a time. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an interesting game to say the least. The beta was amazing, probably one of the better multiplayer gaming experiences I've experienced in a while. Then once it released, I was grinding the game. Ended up convincing one of my friends to play this game, and for him to play, it made me so happy since he really only ever played like GTA. Him and I ended up becoming really good at this game, and for a solid month or 2, we just had the time of our lives. This game was the buggiest out of all the titles, which made for many funny and frustrating moments. Stun locking Bubba over and over at the game's release was busted but hilarious. With some of my background on these games explained, let me answer those key 3 questions. When were these games the most fun? I think that these games are the most fun when the killer is the true power role. What I mean by that is that for the killer, you get to experience what it would be like to be in that world. As a survivor, it gives you a true challenge. I don't think it's fun for one side to walk all over the other. It's nice when you get a good killer in any match and have to overcome them and vice versa. This is very subjective. I think for pretty much all these games besides DBD, they were really awesome at the beginning because of just how broken each side were. TCM was a perfect example, both beta and when the game was released. I gathered from the masses that TCM's release was one of the more enjoyable ones. Why did some horror asyms thrive while others didn't? Most of the horror asyms are dead or on life support. Friday the 13th has been dead for a bit, Evil Dead and TCM being on life support, aka the servers are still up but continued support is no more. The only one left standing has been Dead by Daylight. I think the reason it's been around for so long has been the broad selection of horror IPs, and them adding content frequently. All of the other horror asyms focus on just one story, which may have worked for a bit bit, but then it gets tough to add new content. What do the devs focus on? One unfortunate thing that I noticed when playing these games during their lifespan, mostly DBD, TCM, and Evil Dead, that the devs focus more so on cosmetics rather than actual content. While I do enjoy cosmetics and the ability to purchase/unlock them, focusing mostly on that is not a good choice in the long term. Dead by Daylight has been in muddy waters in the past for having immense problems in the game, then a few hours later posting about a new cosmetic that people should buy. That is what happened to horror asyms. Devs and studios made each patch less and less about having fun, and more about optimal gameplay and strategy. Studios make bold decisions to make a game including just one horror IP. Then the devs, after releasing, are forced to make cosmetic skins so that the higher-ups at these companies can get richer. These are just some of the many reasons why the horror asym games have been failing. Hurt combos, exploits, swifts, and so on are some of the many other reasons. I really wish that things were different with these games because they were a lot of fun. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts down below on these games and why they fell short for many people, or if you actually still enjoy them and you're playing them right now. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps to support the channel and push the video to others who might enjoy it. Try to do something kind for someone today, whether it's a small or large gesture. This is your boy Skilled Fawn, and I'm out.